Shavua Tov, everyone. Welcome to Tillis Tell Stories for Saturday night. The title of this week's video is A Matter of Taste. I adapted and modified and supplemented it from the book Once Upon a Chassid by the well-known popular Chabad Hasidic author Rabbi Yanki Tauber. Rabbi Shlomo of Karlin was expected at the home of Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, the founder of the Chabad Hasidic movement. He is the author of Shulchan Aruch Harav and Tanya, as well as many other major works in both Jewish law and the mystical teachings. But the imminent visit gave rise to a dispute between the Rebbetzin, the Rebbe's wife, Shterna, and their eldest daughter, Freyda. Rebbetzin Freyda, who passed away on the 16th of Sivan in 1813, just before age 50, was an erudite and pious woman. As the firstborn of Rabbi Shneur Zalman and a special soul, she was especially dear to her husband. She was especially dear to her father, and he would frequently deliver Hasidic discourses just for her. One of her sons, Rabbi Aaron Vlaslavsky of Kremenchug, married Rebbetzin Chaya, the daughter of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. For several years now, the already married Freyda had taken charge of all the cooking in the house. Now, in honor of the distinguished guest, the Rebbetzin wanted to retake the kitchen. The Rebbetzin cited seniority and mistress of the house rights. Her daughter argued that since she always does all the cooking, it is hardly fair that the task should be taken from her just when such an honorable guest, the Karliner Rebbe, was due to arrive. Rabbi Shlomo of Karlin, who passed away on the 22nd of Tammuz in 1792, was a student of the Maggid of Mezrich, as well as the main follower of Rabbi Aaron the Great of Karlin, of whom he succeeded in 1772. Most of the Hasidic leaders of the next generation in the Lithuanian region were his disciples. He died a martyr, fatally stabbed by a Cossack while in the midst of the Amida prayer, the Shneur and Esrei prayer. His son, Rabbi Asher, was the first Rebbe of the Stolen dynasty, now referred to as the Karlin-Stolen dynasty. The case was referred for arbitration to Rabbi Shneur Zalman, who offered the following compromise between his wife and his daughter. The Rebbetzin would prepare the food, but Freyda would add the salt. Since the food would be all but tasteless without her contribution, the privilege of feeding Rabbi Shlomo would be equally hers. When the much contested dish finally reached the table, Rabbi Shlomo Karlin found himself unable to continue past the first spoonful. The force of decades-long habit had caused the Rebbetzin to salt the food without even realizing it. And Freyda, of course, had not failed to perform her duty. The result was simply impossible to swallow. But the sodium input into this already oversalted dish was far from over. A third measure of salt now joined its predecessors, this time cast by the hand of Rabbi Shneur Zalman himself. Upon noticing the neglected plate in front of his guest, the Rebbe figured that perhaps the food was not sufficiently salted to Rabbi Shlomo's taste. Finally, Rabbi Shneur Zalman asked the Karliner why he wasn't eating. Rabbi Shlomo replied that the food was too salty to eat. Surprised, Rabbi Shneur Zalman took another spoonful from his own plate and swallowed thoughtfully. "You know," he said, "you're right. It's too salty. It's oversalted." Realizing the strangeness of his seeming obliviousness, we pointed out to him that it was salty, he explained, "From the time that I journeyed to Mezrich to our Rebbe," both he and the Karliner were both followers of the Maggid at the same time, approximately the same time, said, since that time I journeyed to Mezrich to our Rebbe, I have not sensed the taste of food. Don't panic, you're still allowed to enjoy the taste of food and drink. I chose to post this story tonight because of the salting. That is, animal and flower offerings in the holy temples had to be accompanied by salt. And in the salt is used as a natural preservative, so it represents long life. And in the Torah reading, Korach studied and read publicly this past week here in Israel, but not till next week outside of Israel. This is referred to as Brit Melach, the covenant of salt. Those who want to look it up, Numbers chapter 18, verse 19. Shua Tov. Have an outstanding week.